There are less than 2 weeks until the new Premier League season begins, so what better time than this to predict the Premier League table for the 2017-18 season. Last year's prediction was not the best, I'm gonna throw it out there. It really is one of the most difficult things to predict in life. Honestly, it can vary so much throughout the whole year. One team could have an amazing transfer window, yet still do really bad. There's so much going on, let's begin. The club that I think will finish bottom of the Premier League will be Brighton. They're a nice club who just got promoted after coming second in the Championship. They really were so lucky not to win that league last season. They were really unbelievable, had a great year finishing on I think 93 points, just 1 point behind Newcastle. They've made a few decent signings. They've got Izzy Brown, they've got the likes of Matt Ryan from I think Valencia. They've done okay so far in the window, but they definitely need a lot more players to survive this season if to have any chance of survival, and I don't see them surviving, man. Could be wrong, but you know what? This is what this prediction's about. I've got to predict where every team's going to be. I think they'll finish 20th though. 19th spot for me this season could be Burnley. They have bought Walters from Stoke. They've also got Jack Cork, I think from Swansea. Losing Michael Keane was very big. I know they got 30 million, but still, it's a big loss for their defence. I've always said it, Burnley are a very good club. They're a well-liked club across the league, I'd say. Very northern. Like, you think of Burnley, they're just a proper northern team. I do think they'll struggle though, especially if they don't have their home form on their side. I just don't see them surviving, man. I'll go for 19. Now, guys, on to the 18th spot, which is always a really difficult one to predict, as it's obviously the final relegation spot. And it could be, for me, Swansea. I'm not feeling too confident about them. They haven't bought really anyone this season, really anyone of note. For me, though, I'm going to go with Huddersfield. This is tough. I'm going to go with them. I like them, but I just think they'll get relegated I do think 18th and 19th spot all season long are going to just rotate a hell of a lot. Even the bottom three, actually. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting season for the bottom three clubs. But I think they'll get relegated. They have bought 9 new transfers, so a lot more than the likes of Brighton, even Burnley as well. My gut feeling, though, is just saying 18th. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a ridiculously surprising season, a bit like Bournemouth a few years ago. But my gut feeling is saying 18th. It's so difficult, guys, this prediction. It's so hard. In 17th spot, I do believe will be Swansea. They have bought the guy Mesa for 11 million from La Liga, and he's a good signing, but I really didn't like how their form was last season. They were really inconsistent, lost a lot of games by a lot of goals, and their defense was all over the place last season, man. They really were struggling at the back, and I don't think they'll do that well this season either. I think they'll struggle a lot. Now at 16th again, this whole bottom half is going to be so just unpredictable, but I got to predict this. I'm going to go for Watford in 16th spot. I do like how they've signed Will Hughes from Derby. Very good signing. I think it'll be a good signing for them, and I think they'll make more. Watford have always seemed to got cash when they needed the most in the transfer window. I do think they'll probably go from like 13th, 16th at the end of the season. Yeah, I think Watford 16th is hopefully a good shout. Again, got a lot of mates who support Watford, so hopefully they do better than I predicted, but yeah, I'm going to go for 16th. In 15th spot is going to be, for me, Newcastle United. For me, they've got one of the best stadiums I've ever been to. The view from that away stand is beyond belief. It's an incredible stadium. Love the club as well, and the fans. It's a really cool club. A bit like Leeds, we've missed having a team like Newcastle in the Premier League, and one day it'd be cool if we have Newcastle, Leeds, maybe Blackburn back in the league. You know, those kind of teams who were main stays of the Premier League, but it's good seeing them back. For me though, I think they've made some decent signings. Atsu is now confirmed their new player. That's a good signing. I think they'll make more. They've got a lot of money. I know obviously Mike Ashley's always a bit dodgy, but I think they'll get a few more decent signings. Rafa's obviously a clever manager. He's a great manager for me, and I think they'll stay up. I think they'll get 15th spot pretty much locked in. They could go as high as 10th in maybe halfway point, then drop down, but we'll see how they do. For me, I think they'll do decent. I'll be very surprised if Newcastle get relegated. That could be a clip that I've just said that comes back to haunt me, but I don't know. For True Geordie's sake, I think we all need his stress levels to stay low this year. Hopefully, I reckon they'll finish 15th. Now, at 14th spot, I do think Stoke will be that team. I just think they haven't bought that well yet. I think Stoke, they need a striker. A bit like a few years ago when they had, was it Ricardo Fuller? And he would always get a lot of goals for them when they needed the most. And I just don't think they have a reliable striker now. They've lost Arnautovic, who for me was probably one of their, if not their best players. And they've still got the likes of Shaqiri, who, by the way, I think we're all still waiting for just to explode onto the scene. You know, Shaqiri is a guy who we know has great talent. He's played in the Champions League with Bayern. He's a good player. And hopefully for them, he takes that torch from Arnautovic, because me Arnautovic was their best player last season, but I think losing him is big. I just think they need some more clinical players who just get the job done. Not players like maybe Bojan who just, they look good, but they just don't deliver that well. For me, I think they do need a lot more signings, and I think they'll finish 14th. In 13th spot now for me will be Bournemouth. A bit like Burnley, everyone loves Bournemouth in a way. I think they're a cool club. But yeah, I think they'll have another good season. I love the signing of Jermaine Defoe. That is a great signing. This guy can score 15 goals for you per season. He's that kind of striker who gets so many goals. It's always somehow, I think he's underrated. I'd say Defoe is not appreciated. He's a very good striker, man. He's always been consistent, always gets the goals, and I think they'll have a good season. Begovic is an upgrade, obviously, over Artur Boruc. I mean, Begovic, I would have taken Begovic to Liverpool, man. I think he's that good. And they got Ake from Chelsea, good signing as well. And I think they'll make more signings like that. My good friend Brad Smith also plays for them. Hopefully he plays a good season. But yeah, I think they'll do well this season. Crystal Palace are a team that I think could finish as low as 16th or as high as 8th or 9th. They are so hard to predict, especially after they haven't bought that many. They only got, I think, Riedewald, and they've also got, who's the other guy they got? Ruben Loftus-Cheek from Chelsea, the lone player, and I think he'll be good for them. I think he could actually be a sensation for them. He's a very, very talented player in midfield, and I think with the new manager, with De Boer, the legend on FIFA, I think he'll do a good job, hopefully, for them. I reckon they'll finish 12th, though. Very hard to predict, but I can't see them getting relegated. On to the 11th spot in the Premier League, and I think Leicester will get this spot. I think they've got this one locked in. They're a bit like Newcastle 15th. I just think those teams have got it sorted. I think they've bought okay. They've got Iborra from Spain, and I think it would do a decent job for them in midfield, but again, I think they'll lose Mahrez to Roma. I think he'll definitely be going to Italy, so that's a big loss. Didn't have a great season last season. Obviously, 2015 was their best year winning the league with Mahrez and Vardy as the main two. And obviously, well, Kante, the most important player. But I think they'll probably struggle for parts of the season and then have good runs of form as well. I think they'll have an up and down season, but I think 11th seems like an okay shout for Leicester. I think that's okay. 10th spot for me will be West Brom. There's not much more to say than the fact that they've got Tony Pulis as manager. Always does a great job as a manager. I think he's one of the best reliable, consistent managers in the league. I know he's defensive, but a bit like Sam Allardyce, always gets the gritty job done. You don't like playing them because they could beat you on their day. And to be fair, West Brom can play some decent football. They've got likes of Rondon up front. They've just bought Jay Rodriguez from Southampton as well. Very good signing for them if he can stay fit. I think they'll get 10th. I don't think there's much more to say. We all know West Brom are now a respectable club. I think they'll get 10th. Now, Southampton are a very strange club to predict in terms of their transfer activity. They've literally bought, I think, one guy from Lech Poznan, and obviously the new manager after Claude Puel, that's his name, was sacked. So I'm waiting for, if we sign Van Dijk, which I think we will do, they're going to get a lot of money for that, probably at least £50 million. So then they'll buy players. And I think a bit like West Brom, you know Southampton are going to be around probably 12th to 7th-ish spot. So I think I'll go for 9th. Now guys, on to 8th, and I think this team will have a much better season than last season. Obviously losing Payet was massive for them, their best player by a long way. And this season though, I think they'll do better in their, still new stadium in the City London Stadium, and I think they'll do well. Getting Hernandez is a very good signing. I've always rated him. Don't really know why United got rid of him. I think he's got a great goal record in the league when he's played. Had a great few years at Leverkusen. Really, really strong goal-scoring record in not an easy league. People say Ligue 1 is a farmer's league. For me, Bundesliga is a lot tougher than that. And he did well in Germany. Very well, in fact. They've also brought in well with Arnautovic. He's a great talent who I think can do very good things for them. It's not always consistent, but can always probably get you at least like 10 goals, maybe 6-7 assists. So I think they've bought well. Joe Hart in goal on loan is a good signing as well. I think he'll be good for them. And yeah, I think 9th is probably about right. Sorry, 8th spot for West Ham is about right, guys. I'm going to go with 8th for West Ham. Talk about a team who've probably been one of the busiest teams in the whole transfer window so far. It's a team that's very nearby to me, Liverpool. They're probably about, 2 miles away? And yeah, they're They've bought 12 players and they've sold or loaned out 12 players as well. So they've been so active. They've spent over, I think, £100 million already. Obviously, they sold Lukaku to United for at least, was it 75 million? So they got that money as well. They've got the new owner, who's very, very ambitious, going to get a new stadium soon on the Docks Road. And yeah, I think they'll have a good season. I think they will. Even as a massive Liverpool fan like myself, I've always said it. Got so many mates and family who support them. My mum used to work with Everton a lot, so I've got ties to them. Don't really mind them until the derby, which is obviously we hate each other on that day. But anyway, I think they'll finish 7th. Everton, again, they'll beat some very big teams in the league, and I think they'll have a good season, to be honest. Hate to say it in some kind of way, but I think they'll do well. On to the top 6. I've said it on Twitter this week. I've never found it more difficult than this season to predict a top 6. Like, especially 6th until 3rd. No, 6th until 2nd. I honestly, guys, I'm really struggling with this bit of the prediction. So honestly, man, just take it easy. I honestly, I'm very, very unsure on how this is going to pan out. I really am struggling. So bear with me, man. Bearing in mind, 6th until 2nd, as just said, it can just easily rotate. I am still predicting this in my head right now. For me, though, I'm going to go Arsenal 6th. But at the same time, part of me is like, could they have a great season? They could finish 3rd without Champions League, without that added pressure. They've got Lacazette. I've got to call it, though. I'm going to go 6th, man, for Arsenal. I've got to go for it. I love the signing of Lacazette for them. I think he's great. They are probably going to lose Alexis Sanchez, guys. If you're an Arsenal fan, I think you know it deep down. A bit like when Suarez left us, as much as I didn't want him, obviously, to leave, I knew he was, and I think it's a similar thing. I think he's probably going to go to Premier League rival as well. He wants Champions League football, and without him, guys, I mean, they're losing their best player. They've got a great signing in Lacazette. They've got Kolasinac at left back, who is a very versatile left back. I really do like him a lot. And I think, to be honest, in Rob Holding, they've got a future England star at centre back. I think he's brilliant. But I don't know, man. I'm just going to go 6th for Arsenal. I'm not feeling that confident about that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really do think they could even do better, but I think I'm going to go 6th. Oh, God, this is so difficult. Now, guys, again, very difficult choice here, but going to go with Man United at 5th. Obviously, you guys know, as a Liverpool fan, we always just don't like United. It works both ways. But that doesn't come into it for me. For me, they've got Lukaku. They've got a brilliant striker there who will get them probably 25 goals in that team. For me, though, I think United would do better without Mourinho as manager. I honestly believe in some ways he's lost that tactical spark that he once had. I really didn't think last season they really underperformed. They got so many draws. I think they got was it 14 draws, something crazy like that? Yeah, they got 15 draws overall, and I don't know, when you used, even as a Liverpool fan, when you used to watch United under Sir Alex Ferguson, they would always be exciting to watch. And I think if you're a United fan watching this video, I think you'd agree, they're not very exciting to watch these days. And I don't know, I just don't see that creative spark that I think they did once have. Obviously, when they had Rooney at his best, when they had even the likes of Tevez, obviously Ronaldo, you think of those kind of players and they were exciting to watch. Ibra was exciting to watch last season. I think Pogba was very much not used in the right position. If Pogba has an amazing season higher up the pitch, because I don't think he's suited to being a defensive midfielder, I think he's more of a box-to-box player for sure, then I think they'll have a better season if he plays higher up. And this is why this is so hard to predict, because you don't know where they're going to play. But I think United still need maybe another player, attacking midfielder behind Lukaku. Saying that, they have got Mkhitaryan, who I think is world class on his day. I think he's an unbelievable player. And if he plays in the right position, then they can do wonderful things for them. But I'm going to go 5th for United, guys. Let me know where you think United will finish. It's a tough one. They arguably are, hate to say it, they probably are one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest. So it's tough for United fans to see this prediction as 5th, but I'm going to go for it. Now, guys, at 4th spot, last season I predicted pretty horribly, but for a reason I predicted 7th to make us do better. So I'm going to go 4th for Liverpool this season for my club. As I think we'll have a good season, to be honest. I love the signing of Mohamed Salah from Roma. I think he'll be really great. A lot of money, but at the same time, we thought Mane was a lot of money, 35 million. So he is probably, for me, our best player, Mane. I absolutely love Mane. And yeah, I think we'll do well. Mane on the right, potentially Salah on the left. There's so much variety now we've got. I like the signing of Robertson. It's not like a household name. People were very surprised that we bought the left back with the name Andrew Robertson. People really didn't know of him, but I think he'll be a very surprising signing. I like that a lot. And it's an upgrade over Marino, because Marino is useless. I can't wait until we sell the guy. Don't mind him, but he's just not good enough. Solanke is obviously a nice signing on a free. I think he'll do well off the bench. Him and Origi off the bench just gives us a bit more depth. I think Sturridge, surprisingly, could have a good year. If he keeps fit, I think he'll have a very reinvigorated season for us. Firmino still needs to do more for me. Hopefully, we keep Coutinho and then sign Van Dijk, which will be an unbelievable signing for our defence, and then Keita, who is a box-to-box player. Hopefully, we can get them. And I think fourth, guys, for us, is a good shout. I think we could even get third, and if we have an amazing season, I could see maybe even second in an unbelievable scenario, but I'm predicting fourth in the hope that we do even better. I think fourth. Now, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go for third spot, and it's a very tough spot. I've done my own Excel sheet there. I keep looking at it because I'm still predicting in my head. But Spurs, I love their squad. I think they've got a fantastic team. They've even got the likes of Lamella who can come off the bench. They've got other players who can come off the bench. They've got a good squad. Very, very strong team. Their issue is, though, they haven't bought anyone yet. So I'm still waiting on that. I did think at the end of last season, with a few more signings, Spurs could win the league. But they haven't done that yet. They haven't got those new transfers. For me, though, they've got a great first team. I think they'll finish third in the Wembley Stadium. They are playing in Wembley this season, so going to be interesting to see how they do in the top three. I'm going to go Spurs, though, third. At the same time, I did think before, could Arsenal and Spurs fight out for fourth or fifth? I don't know, it could work either way. This top six, guys, I'm telling you, is so tough. But for me, I'm going to go Spurs for third. Now, guys, second spot for me will be Chelsea, which does mean I do think Man City will be Premier League champions. I did predict last season that Man City would be. However, I didn't really think through their defence, and it wasn't good enough yet this year, though. Obviously, they've improved. But first things first, Chelsea, I think teams will probably figure them out a bit more. They've had all off season to predict how they'll play and to really figure out their players individually. So I think they'll still do great. Obviously, they will be in the title contention. I do think they'll be leading at some point. Maybe Christmas time, Chelsea will be leading with Conte as their manager. And I wouldn't be surprised if they win the league again, but I just think second spot for me is Chelsea's this season. I think they've got obviously Morata, who's a brilliant striker, very, very, very clinical striker as well. They're going to lose Diego Costa to someone, maybe even China, but they will probably sign more players. I think second, though, for me, guys, I think Chelsea have got that. So, for me, the Premier League champions will be Manchester City. I think they've bought very well this season. They've bought some clever players. The likes of Bernardo Silva. Mendy is an unbelievable left-back, by the way. Massive upgrade for them over Kolarov and Clichy, who I think have now gone, actually. It's a big upgrade. Kai Walker is a good right-back as well. Although, I'm interested to see that, Trippier has actually outdone Walker. That's interesting for me as Spurs. But yeah, they spent massively on their defence. They spent over, I think, 130 million on their defence. They've obviously got the new goalkeeper, Edison, who they think is going to be really good keeper in the future. Danilo is a weird one. They spent a lot on him to be a backup right back, and some people are saying he could be used at left back as well. So I'm interested to see how Danilo does. Bernardo Silva, for me, is going to be great for them. I think he'll be one of their best new players. I still say it. De Bruyne. I predicted last season he'll be their player and Premier League player of the season. I'm still waiting for that. And I think we all know he's got the talent. And yeah, he had a good season. He got the most assists. But yeah, I think City, guys, will win the league. Their team is unbelievable. I mean, look at the likes of Aguero. Jesus is going to be world class. Sterling, I hate to say it, he is brilliant now as an ex-Liverpool player. But I think City, guys, are going to win the league. I think they'll finish first in the Premier League. And there is my Premier League prediction. City champions, you've got the likes of Huddersfield, Burnley and Brighton being relegated for me. Fourth spot to us, Liverpool. I mean, pretty bold predictions here. Let me know in the comments, guys. Who do you think your champions of the Premier League will be? Who will get relegated? In fact, comment below with your full prediction, guys. I would reply to you as much as I can. Leave a like for more. Can we hit 20,000 likes? That would be amazing. Hope you guys enjoy it. And my God, this was the toughest ever prediction of all time.